And shalom, everyone. Shalom. I want to welcome everyone to the house of the lost sheep of Israel. And today is a good day to be killing the flesh to where we can live according to the Spirit of God. I truly want to thank many people that's here and going to be going through this lesson today. And this lesson is going to be a lot of spiritual things spoken here today. So some people who is just getting into the word and understanding precepts and understanding the spiritual side, some of these things here, you might have to look at it twice. But I do want to think that we continue here as we continually living for God. We living for God to where we can continually move forward to where we can be one of the ones chosen to go into the kingdom of God. But to do that, we have to understand a few things. And we had one of the deacons was teaching this morning in the replacement for Elder Jenkins' class, and he gave us some things to think about. And something that you need to really clearly see is we as a people have an eating disorder. And this place you see here, and most people don't know, especially young ones, don't know about smorgasbords. They had changed the name as the same as many people change titles. Because today they are known as buffets, brunches, but they are smorgasbords. It's a place where you can eat all types of different foods. All types of different foods. This is what the thing that most people truly think and what they want to check out. Because once you go to this smorgasbord, you can get into different things. The same as you can get into different doctrines. You have a shopping list where you go through and you can just get different types of doctrines all day long. Different types of doctrines that many times don't have anything to do with what you're doing. The very thing that you can even look at, even with the Matrix, they said in there that these things can come out and you can eat these different foods and you can get the knowledge to know what you need for God. However, the Most High tells you that everything you need is in this one book. Everything you need is in this one book. Meaning this, overeating is like going to a smorgasbord. See, overeating can come to where you can lose self-control according to the flesh, because you're eating so many different varieties of food, so much to where you'll lose this self-control in not the very portions that you need to have what you need to live. So you just started eating compulsively to where you can cause yourself to overeat, which becomes bad. In the mind of your eyes, everything now is, when you're in the smorgasbord, it looks like candy and donuts and everything in between. And everything in between. It becomes unprecedented in your mind because now you can overeat. Many foods, what most people don't know, have saturated fats and sugars and unclean things. That's why we got to get into the spiritual side to find out what is going on here. And we got to start looking at these then And just as I said, many people is not going to understand pretty much what's going to be coming out of my mouth based on they don't understand spiritual because they're 100% carnal. Now I say it again. Many people is not going to get this because they're 100% carnal and they don't understand spiritual. So we have people who come here and they look at things and they don't get it. And once they don't get it, they sit there saying, no, this is right because I was learned this, but you learned that according to the flesh. So we got to look at something. Why you have to watch overeating. Why you have to watch this. And many of us have an eating disorder. And we're going to pick this up at Leviticus chapter 7, verse 20. It says this. It says, but the soul, but the soul that eateth, excuse me, that eateth of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings, that pertain to the Spirit of God, having his uncleanness upon him, even that soul shall be put off, should be cut off from his people. This is clear as day. But we don't know what some of this stuff mean. And we're going to share that with you again. So we know to eat is to learn. And we taking some of what we learned and now we trying to sacrifice it back to God as a peace offering. Are you following me? Are you following me? And it's telling you, it's saying when we're going to offer something that is trash and we offering it unto him and it pertains unto the Spirit of God, pertain meaning it belongs to the Spirit of God. But you're going to take something that he giving you and then you're going to put trash with it and now you're going to try to offer it as a peace offering from your wrongdoing of the flesh. That's stupidity on top of everything. That's stupidity. And he's telling you, you'll be cut off for doing this. He's going to cut you off from his people. In John chapter 10, verse 17, it says this. It says, for that reason, doeth my Father love me, because I lay down my life that I might take it up again. So the problem is, if it belongs to him, you're going to do the desires of what he's telling you what to do. And once you do those, you laying down your life and you're not trying to live your personal life the way you want to live it. It's clear. But most of us don't want to believe it. We want to do the things our way. We want to go to the smorgasbord and get the different doctrines. We can piece them together and enjoy the way we want to. Are you following me? See, this is what happens. But the main thing is this. When we look at John chapter 14, picking it up at verse 6, it says this. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. So you have to go and walk his way, not your way. But what we doing is what we want to do. We want to sacrifice peace offerings unto him, which pertains to him, having uncleanness upon him. And we have these uncleanness within ourselves. And then we want to offer that to God. Like he going to accept it. Like he going to accept it. I'm telling you, it comes down and it boils down to stupidity at the point to where we have uncleanness, we offering to him, and it's the works of the flesh, thinking we're going to sacrifice it to God. Stupidity. Stupidity. We'll sit there. Let me show you something here. We're gonna dig into this. We got to dig into this. Galatians chapter 5, picking it up at verse 19. Some we already know. It said, now the works of the flesh are manifest, are made known of these. And these are the things that we offer to God. Adultery, learning the ways of adultery, being married, and learn the ways that have other partners within our marriage, in our marriage duties. We have many people here. Go to the way of camps, goes to the way of churches, and get doctrines over there, and then have the nerve to come here and try to mix the doctrine. That's why I say the channel goes up and down. Channel goes up and down. Because if you think you can have more than one wife, I don't want you here. If you think you can have more than one wife, I don't want you here. Period. It's a zero-sum game here. If you sit there and you have a wife and you want to sit there and you want to commit adultery on her, I don't want you here. And if I know about it, see, I'm not like your Christian preachers. I know about it. And you commit adultery on your wife, you have a 100% chance I'm going to remove you from everything I do. Because I don't want you around me. I don't even want you in my presence. If you fornicating like a fool, I don't want you around me. Period. Birds of a feather flocks together. And I'm not that type of bird. So that's why I tell people, channel goes up and down. And if you're doing those things, find one. Because if I find out, just like I said, see, he said, I'm going to give you pastors according to my heart. So I don't need your money. Because that's why you don't see no donations. I work for him. So I can tell you these things. And if you think that you can do these adulterous things to your physical wife or to your physical husband, and as I said, and I find out, you're going to kick rocks from here. We don't have the time for it. We don't have the ways and the time to where you want to go into these smorgasbords and get different doctrines. We don't have the time for it. It's stupidity. But he goes on more. Because when you're overeating in the lust of the flesh is going on in this smorgasbord and they are everywhere, is the problem. Because it's of the flesh. It's lusting of the flesh. So you learn these different doctrines. Let's look at it a little bit. Let's dig in a little bit more into it. Let's dig a little bit more down and we're going to get to it. We're going to go to Sirach chapter 23. We're going to pick this up and we're going to look at verse 6. And it says, let not the greediness, because you're at the smorgasbord with people teaching you the dumb doctrines of the belly, nor lust of the flesh take hold of me. Don't let that take hold of me. Don't let that take hold of you. But he goes on more. Because he pivots. He says, and give not over me thy servant into an imprudent mind. Imprudent mind. Imprudent mind. Meaning what? Arrogant, stubborn, stiff-necked. A defiant mindset. It's what this is doing. Because we like to chew on different doctrines. We like to chew on different doctrines. We want to go to the smorgasbords, get what we can get. So one want to lose weight is just like the same way one want to have self-control. See, when you want to lose weight, you want to have self-control. But if you don't have self-control, you can't lose weight. I know you got it. But this is what we do. We would like to play games with ourselves. We play games with ourselves, but we continually go to a smorgasbord to get the opportunity to taste different things. Lusting of the flesh. Let me try this one. One of them is adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness. I'm talking about, you don't think this is a problem? This is the problem. And most people always want to go to places where they get all this, what they call love teaching. Oh, we can do whatever we want. God will forgive you. Don't worry about it. God will forgive you. And then you come over here and I let you know the Most High have a problem with you. Have a problem with me. Go to Amos chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. Go there and see if you don't have a problem. But everybody wants to sit there and think that they guaranteed into the kingdom just because they say, oh, I'm Israel. Oh, just because you're Israel don't make you Israel. They ain't worried about the problem that you have with God. That's stupidity. Stupidity. He says these things to where we can get what's going on. 1 John chapter 2, verse 16, it says this: for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not the Father. It's not of the Father, but is of the world. It's of the world. These are things we do. Lusting after the flesh, committing adultery. Why? With an imprudent mindset. Arrogant. Oh, she liked me. Oh, he likes me. Stubborn, stiff-necked, defiant mind. People sitting there talking about, man, this is hate teaching. No, this is love teaching, trying to teach you the way that you need to go with God, because we're so stiff-necked and so ignorant and so hard-headed. We done let fools teach us. Oh, he'll forgive you. He'll forgive you. You keep doing it. He'll forgive you. Don't worry. You can sin 1,000,000 times. He's going to forgive you every time. Show me in the Bible. No, it's not in there. John 3:16, for God so loved the world. That's the first thing come out their mouth. Stupidity, using true scriptures to teach dumb doctrines. Lusting of the flesh, causing us to overeat and committing adulteries, fornications, uncleanness, lasciviousness. You know, we look at things and we want to do what's right. You have some people want to do what's right, but you have so many people, it's souped up all on themselves. In Matthew chapter 5, picking it up at verse 28, it says this. It says, but I say unto you that whosoever looketh upon a woman to lust after her committeth adultery with her already in his heart. Already committed adultery. Why? Because you got an improved mindset. The stupidity with that, and he's telling you, if you're already married to Christ and you look upon another one, you seeing another spirit over there, you see another lifestyle of the world that you want to get tied to. He's telling you that way. Looking upon a woman, you're looking upon another spirit, you're looking upon a whole nother lifestyle on the other side. I dumb butt see it because the girl done sat over there and she liked you, and you sitting there, well, man, if she willing to go a round or two, I'm willing to perform that round or two. Then you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Same thing with the woman. Then you're an idiot. You're going to commit adultery because a fool decided to take you on according to the flesh. Having an imprudent mindset, committing adultery, and we're supposed to be married to Christ. But we are to lay down all these types of lifestyles. Adultery, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, ill emotions, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murder, and drunkenness, and rivalings. All this stuff we're supposed to lay down. But if it like us, and we lusting for it, guess what? We try to take it on. But we try to take it on. He's talking to us continuously about what we're doing. See, because once this spirit leaves this body, You can't change it at that point, because now the books are sealed. Your life is sealed at that point. And then he opens it. And if he got to open up some books, you got a problem. You got a problem. In Isaiah chapter 29, picking up at verse 13, he says this, "It's wherefore, saith the Lord, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouths, and with their lips do honor me." This is what we do. See, we're not here to sugarcoat stuff. We're here to sit there and see, and if it don't pertain to you, then you don't worry about that. But if it pertains to you, it bothers you. Why? Because somebody's telling you exactly what you're doing to your face. See, now, well, man, I wouldn't give him an offering if I wanted to. Guess what? I didn't want your offering from the beginning. Here to tell you the truth, that you're acting a fool towards God. If it don't pertain to you, you don't worry about it. But you learn from it, and you might can teach one of them fools out there what they doing towards God. It's that simple. Because some of them going to honor, oh, I love God, I love God. And the first thing they're doing the desires of the flesh. Desires of the flesh. But have removed their heart far from me, and their fear towards me is taught. So the desires right there, and their desire towards me is taught by the precept of men. You can sin as much as you want. God loves you anyway. Tell me they don't teach that. Tell me they don't teach that. And what those precepts are. Precepts of what are? Every imagination of the thought. Every imagination you can think of, they teach. Listen, we might as well just dig with it, because we all in the same boat together. And I'm not going to sit here on this boat and sit there and sugarcoat it to you, or let you tell me contrary. In Genesis chapter 6, picking up at verse 5, and it says, "And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination and thought of his heart," we just came out of it, "was only evil continually." What is it? It's right over here. Adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness. Are you serious? So he's telling us right up front what he said in Leviticus. Did he not? If he find any uncleanness there, he got to separate us from his people. Go right there. But the soul that eateth of the flesh, that you're going to learn of the flesh, didn't it say that men, talking about the precepts of flesh, of the men, and sacrifice the peace offerings pertaining unto the Lord? Everything pertaining to God, you going to teach or pertaining to this, and you do it, and it's uncleanness upon him. He said that soul shall be cut off from his people. He's not going to deal with you. We think he he loves us. Okay, keep believing that. Keep believing that. I'm telling you right up here, right up front, everything in our mind was only evil continually. It was taught by men. And we do them. I don't do it. Then don't worry about it. If you're not doing that, then don't worry about it. And you encourage someone that is. You encourage them that, hey, that ain't good. You need to start walking with God. Then that's what you do. If you're not doing it, then okay, that's giving you some ammunition where you're getting these precepts here to where you can encourage someone to turn towards God. It's that simple. Because he's telling you right up here, in the spiritual way, if that soul learneth of flesh, of the sacrifice of peace offering, to which you're supposed to present your body as a living sacrifice, holy, separated unto God, which is a reasonable service, because it's pertaining to the Spirit of God, and it has uncleanness in it. It's going to cut you off from his people. He's clear. He's cutting you off. You getting cut off. But he gets on more. He gets on more. He ain't done. He ain't even done talking with us. That's the problem. We don't want to hear the truth. In Matthew chapter 10, we're going to pick it up at verse 34. And he says this, and he says, think not. See, when he says, let me leave that alone. Let me move my own flesh out the way. I got to move my flesh out the way. Think not that I come to send peace on earth. Don't you even think, don't even put it in your head that he came to send peace. And everybody said he came to sing kumbaya with all of us. It's not that him talking. He said, think not that I come to send peace on earth. He ain't come to send no peace, but everybody looking for peace. He said, I didn't come to send peace, but you looking for peace. No, he's sending peace. He telling you out his own mouth, he didn't come to send peace. And he says this, he says, I come not to send peace, but a sword. He came with a sword. What? Let's look at it again. Having this uncleanness upon him, he gonna cut it off. He gonna cut off from his people. He getting cut off. That's why he need that sword, so he can cut that fat. You got to cut that, separate it. You got to separate that. And I know you get that, but he's saying this. He says, "For I come to set a man at variance against his father." He's saying this, and we're going to come right back over it, but I just want to keep this something in mind. I want you to keep something in mind. Keep this buried in your head. Keep this buried in your head, because all of us got this pertain to each and every one of us here today. Every one of us. When you're doing things of the flesh, that is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God, but the children of the promise is counted for the seed. So you have many people, as it's saying, we doing and we learning the things of the flesh. It's clear. And it's pertaining to the Lord. You cut off from his people. His people. So you can sit there and believe whatever you want to believe. You can go listen to whoever you want to listen to. But a lot of us are going to get cut off from his people. But he goes on more. He says, I come to set a variance against his father, and the daughter against the mother, and the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. A man's foes shall be of his own household. Going to be of his own household. And when he's saying setting a variance, he's going to put a difference. He's putting a difference between that. When he's saying this variance here, that's putting a difference that will produce certain things. That's why this pops up. Foes. Why? Because when he set this variance, it produces disputes and controversies and disagreements, even quarrels against your father, your mother. Your own foes will be of your own household. That's why. Because he's clear on what he's telling you. He's extremely clear, but the problem is we try to adjust things in the Bible and try to adjust them to our life, so we're going to make the Bible say what we want it to say. And see, and this don't account for just like people sit there and they teach at you. This counts for all of us, me included. He came to set a variance. My own foes will be of my own household. It will be of my own people. My own blood. He came to set that variance there. He didn't come to sugarcoat nothing. It goes on more, it says here. Let's look at verse 21. He says, moreover, now he's going to add to it. Now he's adding to this. He says, moreover, the soul that shall touch any unclean thing, touching it, compared as uncleanness of man. Meaning what? We're going to get into that. We're going to deal with this today. Because this is a problem in Israel. Or any unclean beast, or any abominable unclean thing that eateth of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which pertaineth unto the Spirit of God, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. Period. Full stop. Pertains to God. Meaning what? You touch. Well, I don't know what touching. I mean, you can't touch it. No, what he's saying is you done united. You done attached yourself to that uncleanness. You done touched it. He touched me. Yeah, I know y'all done heard it. They sang it in them dumb Christian churches. He touched me. I know I sound like Luther Vandross. I'll make me a record next week. Y'all can buy it. But I guarantee you, you done joined yourself. You united, attached yourself to uncleanness, the doctrine of man. Anything contrary to sound doctrine is abominable doctrine to God, and being tied to it, learning the carnal things of the flesh, believing now you're doing the things of the flesh in which God going to accept, which pertains to the Spirit of God, and it don't. And it don't. He's better yet off on this. He's better yet off on this, and he just said some things which we know. These are things that's very, very clear on what's going on. In 1 Corinthians chapter 3, picking up at verse 16, he says this. He says, know ye not that you are the temple of God, and the Spirit of God dwelling? Don't you know it dwells in there? So if it dwells in there, why in the world you got people going to be in the building tomorrow? The Spirit of God dwells in you. He said, well, don't forsake assembling of yourselves. Paul tell you don't do it. But they thinking, he said, no, you're supposed to encourage. You need to exhort one another, encourage one another. But don't assemble in large gatherings, because they showed you what happened when you go to Maccabees. We just ran through this last week. Just ran through it. So when you get in large communities, they know where all the fools are, just like crabs in a bucket. Sea roaches in a bucket. And then they can come there and tell you, and all they got to do is spew whatever they want. They can come spew whatever doctrine they want in there and get you to tie to it. They give them the floor, they spew whatever. That's why you see, even in churches, and you have politicians or want to go to that church where the large gathering is, spew whatever doctrine they need that you're going to go with. And if it's going with this man that's teaching you according to the spirit of flesh, everybody go with it because you want to please that man who now you guys see as a God, which was just the other day was being honored as a man. These are things we do. We have to look at what we do. And it's telling you right there, the Spirit of God dwells in you. As soon as you walk in that building, you calling that building the house of God, he departs from that because he has no reason to be there. You saying God is in there. God is saying he's in you. He goes on more, and if any man defile his temple of God, him shall God destroy. For the temple of God is holy, is separated. Which temple ye are, which you're going to end up doing uncleanness. I know we clear. I know we 100% clear. Because now we sitting there and you have the same thing that people do. Same thing people do. We'll sit there and we think that we can do what we want to do. We're going to take it to God and do what we want to do, and God going to accept it. And we said from the beginning, everything belongs to God. Actually, let's better yet. We're going to let the Bible tell you itself. So you won't be sitting there like Elder Johnson trying to develop some doctrine. No, I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show it to you where you can see it yourself. In Ezekiel chapter 18, picking up at verse 4, it says, remember what? All souls are mine. All souls belong to God. and he giving it to you, and all you have to do is lay down your life and pick up his. All souls belong to him. Meaning what? And Adam was born without soul. All you gotta do is go to Uncle Idris. All you gotta do is go to Uncle Idris. All souls are his. All we had to do, have common sense, common spiritual sense, lay down our life and pick up his. But we like to get caught up. We get all souped up on ourselves. Think our poop don't stink. Think our poop don't stink. Sitting there looking in the mirror, thinking we the most beautiful thing in the world, and it's disgusting in the eyes of God. Flesh, and if it was that beautiful, God would be trying to save flesh. But every time you turn around, flesh is dying, showing you God is not trying to save flesh. Showing you he is not trying to save no flesh. He said, all souls are mine. Compared the soul of the Father, so also the souls of the Son is mine. But he's making something clear. It belongs to him, and he tells you more. The soul that sinneth, you want to act a fool? I done given you something, and you act a fool with it? It belongs to him. It's going to die. Going to be forever separated. Go figure that out. Go figure that one out. They sit there and give you all these contrary doctrines to the doctrine of the Bible. He says so much here, and to where we can get along and understand. Actually, I was going the wrong way. But to understand some things, in Romans chapter 8, picking up at verse 8, he said, so then, they that are in the flesh cannot please God. So you got people out here doing all things according to the flesh. All kinds of things according to the flesh. You can go to any church, any camp, anywhere. You're doing all kinds of things according to the flesh, besides learning of God and knowing what is required of God. And that verse has been right there since this Bible been written. Flesh in the works. I don't know what part we missing here. For the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit lusts against the spirit is against the flesh. They're contrary. They're contrary. And it's telling you, works of the flesh are made known. And he's telling you clearly right here that flesh cannot please God. And the first thing we want to do, I want to go do this for God. I'm going to do this, and God gonna love this. Really, flesh can't please God. So what do you think he says? See, people sit there and say, "Fool ain't in it." Fool is in this Bible more than 50 times. And whatever reason, we're going to continually do things according to the flesh and thinking we pleasing God. And God said, look at this fool. I just told this fool flesh can't please me, and I told him what's required, and they doing it the other way. By the doctrine of men. Can't tell me it's not true, because we see it every day. We see it every day. Meaning what? These things manifest in other flesh. Adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness. All these things that's contrary to sound doctrine. Contrary. We do these things and don't think nothing about it. And he's constantly telling us what we shouldn't be doing. And the first thing we do is, no, I'm going to do it my way. In 1 Timothy chapter 1, picking up at verse 10, he tells you the same thing. He says, for whoremongers, I'm sorry. I called you adulterer. I should have been calling you a whoremonger. Oh, I'm sorry. I called you a fornicator. I should have been calling you a whoremonger. Just a mix-up of words, but this is what we are. What are we? We're whoremongers. So I had to mix up a word. I apologize. I need to straighten up the word on what we are. We being whoremongers. For them that defile themselves. You tell me one person that didn't defile themselves. Because every one of us did. So I can stand up and sit there and say, I'm Michael Johnson. I was a whoremonger. Hi, Michael. That's what you might as well say. Because that was me. But I got out that business. Searching every kind of doctrine that was out there. Thinking I'm finding the right thing. I was a whoremonger. Not according to the flesh, but I was a hardcore whoremonger to the spirit. Might as well should have been one of the flesh. Should have been one of the flesh. Calling myself being married to God out there committing adulteries like I'm a fool. Fornication, all kinds of uncleanness. Got my station switched to TBN. Straight out, unbonafide, low down, dirty dog whoremonger. I was boom, right there. For them defile themselves with mankind, men stealers, for liars, perjured person. And if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine, listening to silliness. Listening to silliness. So I needed to put off the works of the flesh, which is an abomination of God. Then once you put on the mind of Christ, he showed you what you was doing and what you was tied to. Show you what you was doing, what you was tied to. The way we can truly understand the works of God. And it says this, and we're going to look at something. We're going to look at some law here. Let's go over here and look at Exodus. We want to find out something. And something I actually even told you guys last week. If you would have did it, you would have known it then. But we have people also over here who want to be lazy. They want everything put on the platter and given to them. And we're going to look at Exodus chapter 8 and picking up at verse 25. It says this. It says, and Pharaoh called Moses. Pharaoh, the king of sin. The king of sin. The king of sin called Moses in for Aaron. I'm telling you, it's a crack up within itself. The king of sin called Moses and Aaron and said, go ye sacrifice to your God in the land. Y'all go sacrifice in your land. King of sin. I don't know what type of way we can change this. They even sugarcoat it. The king of sin. Hey, y'all, you want to tell you what? Don't do it here. Go in that land. Go over there and do it. But the catch is this. Watch what Moses say. Moses is going to trip you out. Moses said this. It is not meat so to do. It's not a meat so to do. And he pivot. But you're going to see something very profound that most people don't even know. They're sitting right here in Scripture. Watch what he says. For we shall sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians to the Spirit of our God. Meaning what? They're going to sacrifice their flesh according to the way that the Egyptians live to God. Did you catch Moses? He said, "No, we're gonna sacrifice these works of the flesh to God." And those are abominations to them, because that's cool with them. That's just like you see fools out there talking about we can have multiple wives. That's an abomination to God. So that makes me and people who teaches over here an abomination to them, because they're kings of sin. Egyptians is the ways of confusion. The ways of flesh. That is what Israel was going to do. They were going to sacrifice those abominations in the eyes of the Egyptians. And that's what they didn't like. That's what they didn't like. He said, we shall abomination of the Egyptians, lo, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes? And will they not stone us? Are you kidding me? I'm hoping you catching that. I'm hoping you really see that. So the ways of the flesh, that's why you sit there even today. People sit there and see that you do your desires of God, and they look at you like a fool. A fool. Because you sacrificing the ways of the Egyptians before their face. They telling you, go do that somewhere else. Go do that in your land. Go do that somewhere else. No, I got to do it here. I want to go do it here. But he says more here. We're going to look at something. We're going to look at it a little bit more. In Leviticus chapter 11, picking it up at verse 12. This is why certain things are said, and that's why I say the spiritual. Most people ain't going to get it. Most people going to lie and say they get it, but they don't get it. But it says this in verse 11. It says this in verse 12. It says, whatsoever has no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. That was all spiritual. We're just going to tear it down. But some of y'all going to get in, some not going to get it. Just because of all the children of the flesh, these are not children of God. But it's telling you right there. See, it don't have no fins nor scales. So you need fins to move around in the water freely. The same as men need legs to move around across land. But if it don't have fins to move around in the waters as freely as a man can move upon land, that's an abomination to God. The scales is the same thing that's protected, that covers it from all the elements that's going on in the waters. She's telling you right up front. It don't have those, and it can automatically get directly to the skin, the same as you have melanin in your skin, and the sun can directly affect you because you don't have melanin in your skin. Again, that's an abomination unto God. And you don't mix with it. But that's beside the point. Because why? Because a lot of people still going to mix with it. I can care less. It's telling you right up front. And it's moving around in what? In the waters, in the knowledge of God. That's why I say, if you is in the knowledge of God and you don't have fins to correctly move around, and you moving around like a cockroach, a sea roach, and don't have no scales, you're an abomination. You're an abomination to God. You're an abomination to God because you don't have no fin, no covering whatsoever. Neither the knowledge in being among his people. So he needs to keep you from his people because you're an abomination to him. They will be teaching you the ways of flesh, not the ways of God. The ways of flesh, these are not children of God. So to sum all that up, what happens? What happens? Yeah, I show it to you. He show it to you. He tells you this. He says this. He just said this. We read it all the time. In Isaiah chapter 34, verse 16, he says this: "Seek ye out of the book." Do you see an S at the end? No, it's not an S there. But what do? We like to sit there and we want to put books. See, now I got 3 books up here, but all of them are the same. You don't see a NIV or NLT or any other type of other stupid book that they want to join you to. I got the King Jacob Bible sitting right before me, to where I can properly study and understand the Word of God according to the precepts that he has ordered me to do. And he's saying, seek ye out of this one book of the Lord and read. And no one of these. So no one of these, it went plural, but he's talking about because it's books in this one book. The book of Job is different than the book of Jonah. The book of Jonah is different from the book of Isaiah. There's books in here. There's books in here to what you can learn from. But you having fools sitting there want to take you to other people books that ain't even in here, and they say they wrote books. Enoch only said he pleased God, and now you can go around. You got fools out there who sit saying Enoch got a book. Stupidity. It shows you how quick you can turn someone from God. Book of Jasher. Don't even know what the Book of Jasher means. Don't even know what Jasher means altogether. But they'll sit there and hold on to it. The something, I know, I keep forgetting what they call it, because they have a book out there, something of Adam and Eve, something they call that, and then they got one of Abraham. They got different books out there. You have been fools doing that. And that's why I also, when I see fools quoting from those kind of stupid books, I even see them in the Facebook. All I do is post the videos I normally do. But when they sit there and they talk stupidity, I disengage from you, because I don't need to deal with you. Same as we have one guy in there talking about that the Bible had errors. The Bible have errors. He didn't discover this himself. And I promise you, he can't tell you what a period, a comma, a semicolon, he can't even tell you what that means. But he personally saying he found errors in the Bible based on Lord and God and stuff like that. Why am I stay engaged to you? Why am I stay united with someone who's sitting there saying the Bible have errors? I even told him, just tell you a short story, because I'm very upfront. And I said, well, I'm a Hebraeus. See, and I'm a Hebraeus by profession, not by religion of any type. I'm a Hebraeus by profession. And then he went on to say he don't go by or believe hold on to titles, telling you clearly again his stupidity, because he clearly don't know what a Hebraeus is. Then a Hebraeus, what our primary focus is to find errors, to find the perfect language, and look for contradictions anywhere to where we can make it disingenuous. That's the perfect way of actually telling you what it does. In the King James Bible, you can't find any. The beautiful thing about it is, when you don't understand something in the King James Bible, the Bible don't have an issue. It's just the way you understand it. And many people know I can go into any other book that you want, and I can effectively show you error on top of error on top of error within the book itself, and I don't have to say anything. And I show you the errors. Show you that it's going to contradict itself. They even use words this of today, and they try to make it seem like that's what they used the words back in the old time. They like to use words pregnant. Those words weren't even created. They didn't come on the scene until the 1800s. So how was they back there saying this? See, when you're in Hebraeus, you're going to turn over every piece of sand for truth. So when you see people and they sit there and they want to pump another doctrine, just the slightest hint of another doctrine, I disengage. Why? Because I don't deal with you. When I have someone going to sit there and tell me that this Bible have errors, it's no reason for me or anyone should be engaged to that person. Period. That's stupidity. Because in this book of the Lord, he tell you, none of these shall fail, and none shall word or made. For my mouth have I commanded, and his spirit had gathered them. So as soon as someone do that, they calling God a liar. His spirit gathered them. So you think he gonna gather errors? See, again, it's showing you right up front. So anytime people tell you the King James Bible has errors, anyone, I don't care who it is, your mama, your daddy, your brother, your sister, your husband, your wife, your children, they tell you the King James Bible have errors, you correct them. Show it to you. They want to hold on to it? You don't. They just need to close the Bible up. Why are you studying God? Because every Bible that you see right now existing in this world is based on a foundation from the King James Bible. Every one of them. And he goes on more. He says this. And this is why he's saying this. And he says, the Spirit of God spake unto Moses, saying, what did he say? He says, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, ye shall eat no manner of fat of ox or of sheep or of goat. It's clear as day here. He's clear as day here. Don't learn. See, most people going to learn these same ways as according to the flesh. Meaning this. He tells you this already. He already didn't train them, but now he got to train fools, which is us. So when we look at this in Psalms chapter 50, picking it up at verse 9, because this was our schoolmaster, but we're too ignorant to figure this out. He said this in verse 9. He says, I will take no bullock out of thy house, out of his house, nor he goes out of thy fold, out of his fold. I don't know what part we miss here. Those was our schoolmaster. You got again, we got fools out there teaching that they going to be sacrificing animals in the new kingdom. One, you ain't going to be in the new kingdom teaching that doctrine lying on God. He goes on one. He said, for every beast of the forest is mine, the cat and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountain and the wild beasts of the field are mine. He's clear. He's clear. But we have that problem. The Spirit of God is saying we like to overeat. And we're going to offer that same stuff that we don't overeat, and we're going to regurgitate it to him. We're going to regurgitate it to him. We supposed to, even though that was our schoolmaster, we should have had enough common sense to figure that out. Excuse me. Hebrews chapter 10, picking up at verse 9, it says what? Then said he, lo, I come to do thy will, O God. He taketh away the first, which was according to the law, showing us what those animals were. He taketh away that he may establish the second. Why? Because he told us, right plain as day, wherefore when he cometh into the world, he says, sacrifice offering I would not, but a body thou hast prepared me. So he's clear in here all the time, but we want to sit there and play like we but stupid. In Romans chapter 12, verse 1, I beseech thee therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. It's clear. He's speaking plain, simple understanding, and we sitting there having fools, and we sit there, and they telling you, well, we're going to be sacrificing animals in the kingdom. Really? Okay, you go to that kingdom, you sacrifice those. You go ahead, go ahead on it with homie. I'll get you another time. Because he told us. He said, all these are mine. So if they're his, we didn't let fools tell us again. Let's look at it. I'm telling you, this is what we do. This is why I say we have a problem. Malachi chapter 3, picking it up at verse 8. He tells us this. Will a man rob God? I will take no bullock out of thy house, nor he go out of thy fold. For every beast of the forest is mine. For every beast of the forest is mine. Will a man rob God? Think about that. He's asking the question, will a man rob God? He said, yeah, you robbed me. Yeah, you robbed me. Yeah. Will a man do it? Yeah, you will rob me. I don't know what part when we going to wake up? He said we rob him, and the first thing come out of my mouth is what? But ye say, when have we robbed thee? He says in tithes and offering. He says in tithes and offering. Will a man rob God? Will a man rob God? He said, yeah, you'll rob me. He said this. Because you had to lay down your life and pick up his. So he's telling you right up front, will a man do this? He said that you therefore, brother, by the mercies of God, present your body as a living sacrifice, holy acceptable unto God. So as he's saying that, he goes on later to say this. And the problem is what we come up with later. In Hebrews chapter 10, picking up at verse 5, he even telling you verse 4, for it is not possible for the blood of bulls and of goats to take away sin. So we already know that. So now he's saying, wherefore, when he come up into the world, he says, sacrifice and offering that what is not, but a body. So he's saying, give me a body. You need to offer up a body, meaning yours. That you're going to lay down your life and take up his. So what we do, we like to make Satan talk in truth and try to make God out of a liar. Yeah, I'll show you why I say that. So is that true? Yeah, a lot of us do. And I'm going to show you why it's true. Because we have to lay down this life and take up his. But I'm going to show you where it's true. In Job chapter 2, verse 4, it says this. Satan says this, because Satan answered the Lord. When he said, hey, man, they need to offer a body wholly acceptable unto me, Satan answered and said to the Spirit of God, he said, what? Skin for skin. Satan, hey, Most High, hey, come here, my man. That ain't gonna happen. Skin for skin. Yea, all that a man have, he will give for his life. He ain't gonna give you that. He gonna go steal from you these animals where you already told him don't take it out of your house. They took them and they're gonna offer it back to you. That's how they are. They're gonna curse you right to your face. They're going to curse you right to your face. Tell me we don't do it. See, don't sit there and think you don't do it. Because if we have given anything contrary to what he said, we did it. Well, I only give money. You did it. Let's look at it a little bit more, because this is where, this ain't no hate teaching. Please don't think this is hate teaching. This is love teaching you what we need to be doing. Because we done sit there and I'm going to tell you, the Most High is not happy about what's going on. In Mark chapter 8, picking up at verse 35, he said this and made sure this is clear. He says, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it. Now, wait a minute. Did not Satan say this? Skin for skin. He said, you lay down your life and take up my life. And Satan said, all that a man have, he will give for his life. And we sitting over here, and when you trying to save your life, you going to lose it. He ain't talking about this life that you talking about according to the flesh. This is already done. That flesh is going to die. He's talking about the spirit to come and saying if you're going to have that life. And he's saying, you trying to save that? But no, Lord, I tell you what, I got a nice sheep over here. No, all the sheep are mine. No, you don't. But this one, you don't have this one. This one's mine. Be right back. Steal it right out of his fold. Right out of his fold. Right out of his fold. He said, I know you. I know just the kind of person you are. You're a thief. You're a thief. So when he was up on that tree, and that thief was right next to him, you go look at the picture. That thief was us. Was us. We should be ashamed of ourselves. Sitting there not figuring out that's us. The thief. Because first time we're going to keep talking about him, everything he doing. Then later on we figure out, dang, he ain't did nothing wrong. We did. Remember me. But a lot of us are not going to come to that truth. A lot of us not going to come to that truth. Being in these smorgasbords. Being in these smorgasbords. Because he said this as we continually look through here. As we look at verse 25. Well, no, it's verse 24. We're going a little bit too far. We have verse 24, I believe. And he says this. It says, in the fat of the beast that dieth of itself, in the fat that which is torn with the beast may be used in it and in any other use, but ye shall no wise learn of it. No wise learn of this. Guess what? That's what we do. We can't help it. We got what they call the can't help it. Why? Because we going in the smorgasbord. We got to go in there and just look at all this lavish living. Tell me we don't do it. Tell me you don't do it, I'll show you a liar. The fat of the flesh going to die of itself. It's telling you this right here. The beast, the fat of the beast that dieth of itself. I know you see it. I'm going to make sure we can see it to where we can't get away from it. Because what we try to do, we try to always get away from everything. We want to have that kind of lifestyle. They're going to die of themselves. Because all flesh, the day you're born, you already got a death date. Automatically. You get 2 stamps. Born date, death date. Automatically. He's telling you what? But ye shall no wise eat of it. He said, don't learn of the tree. But what we do? I know you don't want me to show it to you. See, this is where we get into. We get into these problems. We get into these problems. Meaning this. Let's keep moving. We're going to keep moving for it because we already in it now. Verse 25, it says, for whosoever. That means mommy, grandmommy, daddy, granddaddy, daughter, son, husband, wife, friend, cousin, whosoever. You see, he didn't put a name on it. Whosoever learn of the fat of the beast, of which men offer, that doctrine of man. You want in there, you want to learn the man? See, because a lot of us, no matter what, even when they say they're going to still, no matter what, they're going to sit there and congregate with man. I can care less what you tell them. They're going to materialize it in their head and they're going to congregate with man, thinking man going to teach them some type of truth in there. And it's not going to happen. And he said, whosoever learneth of that fat of that beast, which is the beast, it's going to die of itself. It's guaranteed to die. And you do this in an offering made by fire. This is the problem. And this is the desire unto the Lord. Wait. This is the problem. You going to make an offering unto the Lord, which is your desire of the flesh to God. I want you to think about that. You sitting there, you offering adulteries unto God. Think about that. You offering fornications to God. I want you to think about that. Even the soul that eateth, so even you sitting in there around that kind of crap, what he says, and they teaching those kind of doctrines, you remove yourself from there. Why? It shall be cut off from his people, not cut off from your people, because his people ain't your people. You're going to be cut off from his people. I'm pretty sure he's clear. And I'll give you the best example. Let's look at an example. The way we can get this. I want to put it where the goats can completely get it. I'm going to put it where the goats can get it. And we're going to look at this. In Genesis chapter 3, picking up at 1, it says, now the serpent was more subtle than any man, more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Spirit of God had made. It's telling you this right up front. He was more subtle, more cunning, more crafty. But guess what? This serpent knows all he got to do is tap into one thing. One thing all he got to do is tap into. Tap into your lust, he got you. Tap into one thing, he know he got you. And all he got to do is tap into your desire. He got you. Meaning this. Watch what he does. Now, he's already more subtle in what he do. And said to the woman, yea, have God said, ye should not eat of every tree of the garden. I'm talking, it becomes comical because we already know. To show you how we know, watch what happens. And the woman said, this is the spirit. This is the spirit talking to the spirit. So it's our spirit. We didn't lay down our life. Let me go up just so you'll know. Because don't sit there and act like you don't know this. So it tells you, when the Lord God caused the deep sleep to fall upon Adam, meaning man and woman, we go to Genesis chapter 5, verse 2, and he took of his rib, same one of his spirit, closed up the flesh, and said thereof, in which the Lord God had taken out a man, made he a woman, made another spirit, which is Christ, which is given us, written to us, so where we can know what's going on, and Adam said, what? Now this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She should be called woman. This is the spirit, because she was taken out of man. But guess what? They didn't take on to it. He just took it for granted. He's cool. Why? He goes on more. He's worshiping and honoring with his mouth, but his heart is far from him. Watch. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife, and they should be one flesh. This coming out of his own mouth. Did it with his mouth, not with his heart. Why? Because it tells you clearly right here, and they were both naked. They was in sin, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. That's how you know automatically they were still sinful. Still sinful. Still into shadiness. So when he said this thing, this is how we got caught up. This is how we got caught up. Had God said this? But watch what she said. And the woman said, see, this is our spirit because our desires is kicked in. Why? Because we talking to the dang serpent. And said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the garden in the trees of the garden. But the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said. Wait a minute. She already I keep telling you. She gonna tell him, our spirit, out of our own mouth, gonna tell him what God told us. Ye should not eat, you should not learn of it. Neither shall we join ourselves, touch it, join ourselves to it, lest ye die. We join to that type of doctrine, we gonna die. If we touch it, if we join ourselves to it, touch it, we dying. I don't know what part we missing here. Put us in a deep sleep. And what do we do? Same as we go through here. Let's look at something. I'm just going to show you something here. The way we can just get a little bit of understanding. In this here, we should leave our father and mother. Now, the Spirit of God said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. And he bounced. And he bounced. That's simple. He bounced. So including something that show you we supposed to adhere and hold on to the scriptures. So what is it saying? So when he removed the rib, the spirit, the documentation of the doctrine was removed from man. which was the imagination and thoughts of our hearts. And the scriptures was written to man. So don't forget that. But Adam said, is why you're going to lead this doctrine. But you see what Abram did. But the Most High did this. He did something that was real smart about it, to where he going to set us up. He set us up to show what we really are about. In Jeremiah chapter 33, they just show you this. I want you to see this. 33 and 34. I want you to see this. I want you to personally see this. Personally see this, because where you won't have no excuse when you stand before God. 31. I'm sorry, 31. I don't know what I am doing. 31 and 33. My apologies. 31, 33. Because this is where we don't have no excuse. It says, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. He's making a covenant with the house of Israel. Just because you're Israel, don't make you Israel. Why? After those days, said the Spirit of God, I will put my law on the inward parts and write it upon their hearts. He's going to write it upon our hearts. So if it's written upon our hearts, then when we know it, we'll get it. Meaning what? Paul hit you with a fastball when he said this. In Acts chapter 26, picking up at verse 7, he said this. Unto which promise are 12 tribes, instantly serving God day and night. Once it's written upon your heart and you're reminded of that, you should instantly be serving God day and night. But he goes on more here. And he said, I'll be their God and they should be my people. Why? And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, know the Spirit of God, for they shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them. You see, most people missed it again. Because just like I said, it's a testimony. It's a testimony that is written, meaning this. This is why many people who teach and they sitting there talking about the Bible is a lie, this and that, you might well just close your book up. Might well close it up. Because you're blaspheming against God and he don't forgive in this world or the world to come. Might as well close it up. But we're going to look at Exodus chapter 31, and we're going to pick it up at verse 18. And it says this, and it's clear. It says, and he gave unto Moses, and when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tablets of testimony, just like this is testimony, tablets of stone written with the finger of God. See, now he did this twice. You'll see where he said this twice to him, because you'll see it also in Deuteronomy, just to show you what's going on. This is actually being even referenced in the law. The law references another law. It's just showing you this. In Deuteronomy chapter 9 and verse 10, you're going to see he said, in the Spirit of God delivered unto me 2 tablets of stone written with the finger of God. And to them that's written according to all the words which the Spirit of God spake unto you in Mount, out of the midst of the fire in the day of our assembly. Why did he do that? Because it was written to us for our learning. It's written to us. And if you put it already on your heart and it's written to us, then once we get it, boom, we should start instantly understanding what's going on, which clearly tells you when you get down to Romans, again, what's happening. Romans chapter 15, picking up at verse 4. It says, whosoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, as we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Because it was written for us. It was written. It's telling you clearly what it was doing. But we got problems. Meaning what? When we go through here and we look at Genesis, as I was saying, Genesis chapter 3, and you go down, like I said, we have problems. So in 3, it tells us already right up front what we shouldn't be doing, but we still did them. We still did them, meaning this. It says, but the fruit that is in the midst of the garden, God has said we should not eat of it, neither shall we touch it. We shouldn't even join ourselves to it. We shouldn't even join ourselves to it. Well, we have done things that we shouldn't have been doing. But just to have a little bit understanding there, let's look at something. You look at 21. 21, it's telling you, Leviticus 7:21, it says, moreover, the soul that shall touch shall join any unclean thing as uncleanness of men, or any unclean beast, or any abominable unclean thing, and learn of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings. You're gonna offer that to God, which pertains unto the Spirit of God. Even that soul shall be cut off, showing you how shady we are. Showing you how shady we are. And watch. But this is what's going on. We learned of it. Because he's telling you over here in Genesis. We learned of this. Watch. In verse 4, it says, and the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. Now, didn't he just tell us over there earlier in Genesis, we're going to die? He said, clear day, we're going to die. I showed you just to make sure we're clear. Go in Genesis chapter 2. Just to make sure we're clear. Genesis chapter 2, verse 17. Why? Just to make sure we're clear where it ain't no mistake. It says, but the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat. You shouldn't learn of it, for in the day that thou learnest thereof, thou shalt surely die. What did the serpent say? You ain't going to surely die. You're not going to surely die. You good. You good. But we're going to still go, I promise you, a lot of us going to get caught up in all kind of camps. Because you're going to hold on to their doctrines. See, by no means I'm telling you to come over here and sit with us. I'm just showing you what the truth is. You don't sit there and see me begging anyone. Oh, if you like what you hearing, yeah, you put a like up there. I don't beg you to like me. You don't even hear me say it. When we were putting out emergency things, I tell you to like it to where it'll pull in the algorithm. But I'm not going to force you to like something. If you like it, you thumbs up it. It's that simple. I don't sit there, if you support me, go to my Patreon account. No, we don't even have a Patreon. It's stupidity. Those are unclean things. He's telling it right there. And you're learning the things of the flesh. Why? Because you're in the smorgasbord. Doing the desires of flesh. It's clear as day. You won't surely die. The serpent is attacking the lust and desires of the flesh, including lying on the Spirit of God, that you will not die. Not being in the presence of God is death alone, making you people of the flesh, and people of the flesh is not the children of God. But it goes on more. It goes on more. Watch this, verse 5. For God do knoweth the day that ye learn thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye should be as they ain't putting you on the same level as God. You should be as gods, knowing good and evil. You got brothers that you'll sit under right now, but you so scared to separate yourself from that doctrine because of you tied to the clique. You'll stay there. And people wonder why Brother John be so hard on people when they try to come into our classes in the back. You shouldn't trip with him. We clearly letting you know we don't want junk. If you truly want to learn, you learn. But don't come back here with junk. Don't come back there trying to push another doctrine. We know who we worship. You got people walking around talking about they gods. They gods. In more so, let's look at something. Isaiah chapter 14. Picking it right up at verse 14. Just to give you a refresher. Because this is what Satan does. The spirit of evil is what? I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Same thing. You're going to be as a God. You're going to be as a God. How you going to be a God and he's a God? How you going to be a God and he's telling you he's the truth? Actually, let's go to, I just want to make sure we're refreshing. I want to make sure, because I don't want you to trip on anything. We're going to look at John chapter 14. John chapter 14. Yeah, 14:6. He's telling you, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Don't no man has that type of doctrine. No man has that doctrine. He does. Who? Christ. His word. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. He said, no man cometh to the Father but by him. Don't you ever think that you get into him through the doctrine of man. Oh, I belong to this church. Oh, I belong to this church. I belong to that church. I belong to this camp. Don't you ever think you're going to the Father. You can take that out your head. You can sit there and believe whatever you want to believe, whatever they want to tell you. You'll never get there. Because when you leave here, you'll find out, because you didn't touch that unclean thing. You done joined yourself to that unclean thing. So that's why he says these things to you. In Ephesians, we're going to look at that. Ephesians chapter 4, and picking up at verse 8. He says this. He says, wherefore, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive. He led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men, M-E-N. But you got dumb women out there calling themselves preachers. You got dumb women out there calling themselves these bishops and everything else, that they teachers. Men. Then the first thing they tell you the precepts of men. They say that's interchangeable. M-E-N. No, what's interchangeable is M-A-N, mankind. M-E-N is telling you directly men. But they're so stupid. And see, and I always sit there. They're more than welcome to always come on. Always. But they'll never come on. The reason why, they want to sit there and give you a stupid orating speech. Well, God told me, God led me. God only spoke to Moses like that. But he did do this to set it up. This is set up for a reason, this way. Because when you have an unholy man, unwise man, teaching you the doctrine of man, you should know. Because those gifts, those men can properly take you through the precepts of God, showing you what God said and what we need to do to get right. Don't be overeating in no dang smorgasbord. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. And you learn that one. And when you have a complication, that man, he can fully tell you to give you the clear understanding of it. But when you got a woman doing it, when you have a woman doing it, when you have a woman doing this, now you got a problem. Why? Because I'm going to show it to you. And this is what they come like this. They come like this. And we're going to look at Revelation chapter 17, picking up at verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abomination and filthiness of her fornication. Exactly who she is. Exactly who she is. And upon her forehead was what? Written, mystery, Babylon, the confusion, the great, the mother of harlots, the abomination, the great, the mother of harlots, the abominations of the earth. She got you. Talking about she a preacher. You can't find one preacher woman in the Bible. Not one. Now all of a sudden he's doing that. Now he's doing it. Not one. But they'll tell you about all these dumb doctrines. You got them all over the web. Got them all in churches everywhere. Dumb as a box of rocks. This is the stupidity that we done broke down to. It's telling you what she is. A mother of harlots. And this is the trip with John. And John said, I saw the woman drunken with the life of the saints. She got them. And watch this. In the blood of the martyrs of Jesus, of salvation. The martyrs, these people thinking they died for him, but they didn't. That's why he said, and when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration, how in the world did she get them? How did the Spirit get them like this? Lust. Lust will get you in a heartbeat. Lust will get you in a heartbeat. You see who they are. You see them all over the web. See them on TV. You got people who will sit under that junk. That spirit got you. Mother of harlots. See, because it's telling you. He's telling you right here, clear as day. He gave gifts unto men. Gifts unto men. But he says this more for. Watch this. Watch how he clears this up. He said, and he gave some apostles. People say, well, no, it's no apostles. No, you got apostles. There was no apostles today. Yeah, it's apostles. He says it right here. Some prophets, some evangelists, some pastors, and teachers. But you got fools out there who this book don't even belong to or tell you what some of those people are and what some of those people shouldn't be. Fools. They ain't nothing but orators of ignorance. And that's why it's showing you the diversity of these positions. Right here. Right here. The diversities of them. Meaning this. So you see all these people there. So we need to understand their positions. 1 Corinthians, picking it up at chapter 12. Picking it up right here at verse 4. It's saying this. Now the diversities of gifts. Didn't he say he gave gifts unto men? The diversities of this gift. But the same Spirit. The same Spirit. You got a lot of dudes out there calling themselves bishops. They don't even know what bishop mean. Don't even know what it mean. And then they want to walk around as bishop as this is the top dog and bishop's not. You don't even see bishop. Do you see bishop anywhere here? Because these gifts, these are the gifts that he gave. Those are the gifts. You don't see bishop there, do you? You don't see it there, do you? And those are for perfecting of the saints. And those are for perfecting of the saints for the work of the ministry and edifying the body of Christ. But that just shows you how stupid people are. It ain't no other way to say it. And it's in the diversity of the gifts, and it tells you, it goes on more. And it says what? And there are differences of administration, but the same Lord. You see it right here. You got some apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, some pastors and teachers. Difference in administrations. In diversity of operations, but the same God, which worketh all in all. He's clear. He's clear as day. He's clear as day. But the thing is, we done took hold to some of those people and some of those doctrines and got hold of it. Meaning this. I want you to see something. Go back to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 6. What happened? And when the woman saw, when this spirit see this, that this knowledge, this tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, the tree to be desired to make one wise, She took of the fruit and did learn, and gave it also to her husband, and he did learn of it. So I want you to remember something. All they need to do is inject that lust. See, lust kicks in, it'll get you. Lust kicks in, it'll get you. See, because as I said, we making some things perfectly clear for you. In 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 14, it says Adam was not deceived. So don't ever think we was deceived in this here. Don't ever think that. But the woman, our spirit, being deceived, was in transgression, was in forgetfulness, because we wanted to do these things of the world. That's where we got caught up at. That's where we get caught up at. We want the things of this world. We have a problem with this and what we want. Because as we continually go through, and as we closing this down, we got to look at some things. In Numbers chapter 14, picking up at verse 18, he makes this clear for us. It said, the Spirit of God is long-suffering and of great mercy, forgiving acts of sin and forgetfulness, and by no means clearing the guilty, but visiting the acts of sin of the fathers upon the children, upon the third and fourth generation. Don't think he ain't going to visit it. Don't ever think he's not going to visit these acts of sin. The acts of sin is going into those hellish places doing that because he makes sure this is clear all the time. The same thing what we're going to continually do, but most people not going to want to do. In Hebrews chapter 10, picking up at verse 26, he makes this clear to you, and you clearly get this. It says, for if we sin willfully after we receive knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. That's clear. Meaning what? Example, you got Seventh-day Adventist churches, Churches of God, Conference, Seventh-day Adventists, Baptists, Southern Baptist, Brethren and Catholic, Roman Catholic, Christian Union, any Christian church, Churches of God Holiness, Churches of Jesus Christ, African Orthodox, Jehovah's Witness, Lutheran, Methodist, Mormon, Nazarene, Orthodox, Pentecostal, Presbyterian, Reformed Spiritualists. And then you have the stupidest ones out there where they want to call themselves apologetics. Apologetics. Making you seeing something ain't nothing being but magicians trying to make you see something that ain't even in the Bible. See, he says these things to make sure we're clear. And what they dislike is they can't properly go through the Bible. So what they do, they make up stuff. Now you got apologetics. Talking about his Greek and his stupidity. In Matthew chapter 24, verse 5, it says, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Many people are going to get deceived by that alone. Why? Because of how they going to come. Meaning this. I'm going to show you what's going on. Many going to get deceived based on this alone. In 2 Corinthians chapter 11, picking up at verse 14, telling you this. It says, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. He's going to come just that way. Because he's telling you right here, they're going to come in his name. He's going to transform himself. Oh, we do apologetics. Stupidity. We got a guy, Michael Holloway, I believe that's his name. I'm not sure. You can go look at one of those things. He said Jesus is God. God said that he's not from the Son of Man and he's not a man. But he said that's God. You can't tell me he ain't stupid. You can't tell me that. And he goes on more. He said, for that reason, there is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. To their works. But they like to look a certain way. They like to look a certain way when they do it. Meaning what? We go over here to Sirach, and we're going to let Sirach tear down a little bit of this for us. In Sirach chapter 27, picking it up at verse 8, it says this: if thou followest righteousness, I want you to clearly get this. If you following righteousness, thou shalt obtain her. You're going to obtain that spirit. And put her on as comparing a glorious long robe. Comparing that. You ain't gonna have one, but it's compared like having on this long robe of glory. But watch what happens. He's saying you just comparing that, but I'm gonna show you how stupid they do. Let's look at the stupidity. Let's go to Luke. We're gonna look at Luke, and we're gonna go to Luke chapter 20, and we're gonna pick it up at verse 46, because this is what they do. Verse 46, it says what? Well, let's go up a little bit more. It says, then in the audience of all the people, he said to his disciples, why? Yahweh, I want to let them know something. He said, beware of scribes which desire to walk in long robes. See, you're supposed to be compared to like having one based on your conversation and knowledge of God. They saying, no, we're going to show you we got long robes. So we'll just be what you saying in the Bible. So you saying, oh, they got to be men of God. No, it ain't. He's saying they desire to walk in long. They desire to walk in long robes. But they gonna have them on. And love greeting in the market, in the highest seats of the synagogue, in chief rooms at feasts. This is what they do. They're good at doing it. They're good at doing it. You got them. They got on the robe, and then they think they're the main. They think they're the main people. Really. See, it's telling you what they are and what they are about. Meaning this. You look at 1 Timothy chapter 4, and picking it up at verse 1. It says, now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. Why? Because they're going to come like this. Some of them come in clown suits, like you see in camps. And they're going to hold to them. In doctrines of devils. Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats, which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving in them that believe and know the truth. This is clear. This is clear. But those seducing spirits are going to get many of us. Because most people are going to still adhere to it. They can get you to close the book up. So as we part out of here, in 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 21, it says, for the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men of God speak as they were moved by the Holy Ghost. So, in a nutshell, teaching the doctrine of devils and overeating happens daily. Matching text to the King James Bible against, and people like to put the King James Bible against the NIV, against the NASB, against the NLT, against the KJV, the New King James Bible, against the WEB, when you got the King James Bible, which the actual translation is to the ruler of Jacob's. The ruler of Jacob's are written instructions of the Bible. Bibles instructing believing in life eternal. So we need to figure out what we're doing and how many of us has got tied up into a bunch of different crazy doctrines that we shouldn't be doing. And hopefully that you guys have gotten something that was out of here that you can move forward on, and that we can continually learn and help us out. So with that, we're going to end this here, and because we're going to get ready for the Daniel class, which is come on after this, but it'll be in the back. So that one is in the back of the class, and I'll be back there to where we'll be taking that on. And then also, if you some of you guys, well, I also found out what some people's having problems talking about, they didn't get the email, but once you're part of KJBU, all you got to do is go to your Teams app, and you click on it, and you can click on it, and you can go right into the class. It's automatic. So that's why we stopped doing that, and you can get back there. So with that one, hopefully that you guys will continue to where you can see what's going on and understand it. And as we continually look for these things, I want you to continue to search through these and understand what's going on. When you're attaching yourself to all these little different doctrines and holding on to craziness, he's going to cut you from his people. You can say whatever you want to say up against men. We can care less. You can speak against me or any other deacons or any other elders. You can speak against all of us. It's not going to take anything out of this Bible. It's not going to change anything. So if you speak against it, you can speak against it, but you're speaking against the word of God. You have not done nothing to where you're doing something against me, but you're actually speaking it against God. So with that, I hope that you got something from it. Tomorrow we'll be going through Romans, as well as Deacon Micah will be going through the preceptor tomorrow. So we have a kind of a busy schedule tomorrow, where we have a lot of people, doing different things. So with that, I say to each and every person, until tomorrow, and some, I'll be seeing you in a couple of minutes. So until